What's up, world? This is WeNeeda5th. This your man Mo. Government Hill in the building.
Yo,
Government P on the line.
I am.
And my sister from another mister. Hey, Ebby, back again. We're
Hey guys.
talking. We got Ebby on here talking Serena Williams and the U.S. Open. First, want to start with Serena Williams. She just announced her retirement. U.S. Open, her last tournament, quote unquote. We don't know for sure, certain. Hey, I won't know until the next tournament comes around and she says, "Hey, I'm not here." But just thinking back on her career and her legacy, where do we rank her in the pantheon of all-time great athletes? Hey, the Tiger Woods, the Michael Jordans, the Muhammad Ali's, the Bill Russells. Where does she rank in that pantheon of all-time great athletes? Wayne Gretzky, just to name a few.
Yeah, I think that's a great question. For me, it's like who's the greatest Muhammad Ali Tyson question. You can go round and round. But I definitely think she's among, those athletes. Prior to the US Open, Tiger Woods, might be on the top of the list because of the influence he has on golf. When he's at a tournament, the golf fans follow him like a biblical figure. It's like, watching a Michael Jackson concert back in the day and fans just falling out, watching him on stage. That's the effect that Tiger Woods, has on the golf fans. And he would be able to get appearance fees to appear at a tournament, win or lose, just because he was such a big draw. So, prior to this US Open, definitely Tiger Woods with this US Open and Serena timing her retirement. I mean, the ratings were off the roof for her matches. ESPN's ratings were off the chain. US Open tickets skyrocketed. The resale price increased. So she's sort of, I don't know if she would have had that power if that retirement message timed as perfectly as it was. So, Serena's definitely in that conversation.
Fellas, what do you guys think? Where does she rank all time?
I agree. I think sometimes it comes down to what's your sport, right? Like for me, Michael Jordan's always going to be at the top. Basketball's my sport, and I think he's the best ever play basketball. But if you're a huge women's tennis fan and that's your favorite sport, you may say she's the greatest athlete of all time. But I definitely think she's in that icon. Well, I don't even think that should be a discussion. She's in that iconic class of Wayne Gretzky in hockey, Michael Jordan in basketball, Serena in tennis. So, I think she's right there. It just depends on what sport you like the most.
I mean, if you're thinking Mount Rushmore, you're thinking just offhand, gender aside, who's the greatest tennis player you think ever was?
I would say Serena.
Right about now, Serena.
I would say Serena. And she's the favorite. She's the one I watch the most. Like she's a bigger draw for me personally than anybody in men's tennis ever.
Well, if you're gonna say she's the greatest to man or female in a particular sport, I think that pretty much answers our question for pantheon of where she stands. She's on that Mount Rushmore and just sports wise.
I mean, our sport is, the ultimate tennis player that has the most championship wins pre-Open era. So she's at 25, but, she's still alive and she has that record. But, the Open era system wasn't fully developed, during, her prime. But notwithstanding that Margaret Court's at 25 and Serena's at 23, I mean, obviously from where Serena started and where she is at 23, she would still kind of be the biggest, impact tennis player, but that's subject to change because, you have 3 male tennis players that are at least at 20 matches apiece with Federer and Nadal and Djokovic. They're, in their mid to late 30s. So, they may be in reach of 23. It's and with Djokovic and the vaccination issues and, Tiafoe eliminated Nadal in this round, and Roger Federer looks like he's chilling for a minute. These 3 men who are in position to reach 23 probably may not reach it. So that still leaves Serena. And one thing I want to say, Serena actually, she's an inspiration for, Black female tennis players. You have Coco Gauff, Naomi Osaka, but I have to point out she's actually even an inspiration for, Francis Tiafoe. He's wearing, the GOAT sweatshirt, with Serena on it, inspiring him sort of like, well, she can do it. Well, why can't, dude from Maryland do it? And he was very close to doing it. So, her influence is, for any, male or female, Black or white, Compton or, China, or anyone who feels like, they're outside of that, country club set. It's attainable for anyone with the talent and, anyone who's going to put in that kind of work. When I watched the US Open, I realized these tennis, to reach the championship, there's 7 rounds of grueling tennis. It's a lot of work. See kind of the end result and the glory of it, but for her to repeat that 23 times in a lifetime, like Sloane Stephens, I think she won the US Open in 2017, has never been anywhere close. So it's sort of like, like in music, you have the one-hit wonders, and you look at the Stevie Wonders and the Prince and the Michael Jackson or Bruce Springsteen, or Billy Joel, and you realize how hard it is to just keep coming back. And Serena, is definitely on that Mount Rushmore with 23.
And you're talking about a sport that, like baseball, defies socioeconomics. You know what I mean? Like for inner city youth, you just can't walk down the street and see a tennis court.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it takes quite a bit to just draw that personality out of a child to say, I want to be a tennis player. I mean, maybe camps you get exposed to it at some time. Maybe gym you might get exposed to it during times, but 9 times out of 10, you don't have that feel. It'll be a turnoff. Then getting equipment, things of that nature. So for her to start from Compton, stick with it, and then become who she is now, I guess, adds to the mystique of the championships, to it. I mean, because like I said, Compton it's not the upper parts of Westchester, to say the least. It's not the outskirts of Beverly Hills. You know what I mean? And these 2 women that have done this is just phenomenal. So hats off to both, but definitely Serena. I mean, for her sport, I have her up there. I won't put her over anyone, but I definitely have her in a discussion. Is what I'll say.
And then, of course, we can't have this discussion without King Richard. You mentioned a kid wanting to do it. What came first, the chicken or the egg? Did Serena realize she wanted to do it when Papa Richard, gave her the tennis racket and said, this is what we're doing Saturday morning? But it all worked out. It all worked out.
And it's funny because I was about to say, hey, it also illustrates the strength of, family.
Yes.
And in particular, the African American family, when, they're held together by a common goal, and everybody's on board with that common goal. And I think for the Williams family, hey, common goal was, hey, we're gonna get these sisters up into the tennis professional arena, and their father, King Richard, chased that dream down. And whether or not, hey, it started out as a group dream or just one person's dream, they all eventually adopted it and accepted it and leaned into it. and she took that dream and ran with it. And what she's been able to accomplish on and off the court has been extraordinary.
Yeah. That King Richard feel has that also that pretty much that King Joe feel.
Yeah, I was about to say.
It's a dream of one man, and that push, and however, the meat is grinded to get that grade A, quality product.
Yeah,
it is what it is. We'll never know to the extent, but he had a vision just like Joe had a vision.
Yeah. They were, kind of chastised for it or whatever, but look at the results,
Right.
And it looks like we lost Ebby for a little bit, but just speaking of the U.S. Open, Tiafoe played last night against Alcaraz. This young kid is coming. Alcaraz, he's what many people are prophesizing as Nadal 2.0.
He'll be great on clay, and then everywhere else. Should be
not just how Nadal is able to move over the across the court. The tricky shots he's able to do. Kid is a problem. Unfortunately, the kid ran into Tiafoe and ended Tiafoe's run in the U.S. Open. I think that's what Ebby was.
Tiafoe has to keep it up and keep it consistent. I think we had a love affair with Blake one year at the U.S. Open. Yeah. So I don't think you'd want that, that niche person. And just keep it up and stick with it and just get better.
He's going to see, I think once he watches the tape of this match, he's going to see a lot of areas where he could have a lot of room to improve. I think there are certain situations where it's just like, hey, you got to not, you can't allow this guy to get 3 lob shots over you. Like, come on, bro. You got, but live and learn. And like you said, hey, take this experience and try to remain consistent. I think he's learning how much effort, how much energy it requires to get to where he wants to be. And hey, I look forward to seeing how the rest of his career pans out. Yeah, I don't know if we get Ebby back.
Yeah, she's working on it, but yeah, and like she was saying, it's just so hard. You know what I mean? It sounds good. Oh, I'll be back. What she alluded to, and what else? What are you supposed to say? I'm not going to be back here again, but it's tough. It's tough.
7 rounds of potential 6 sets.
Yeah, it's like that. Or any sport, but I use basketball in particular, where that young team may reach the finals. I.e., the Orlando Magic or Shaq, or the combination of KD and Westbrook. And, when they lose, to say, oh, don't hang your heads. These guys will be back again. Nah, that's how it works. Like you may never be back there again.
Hey, we were just talking about U.S. Open, Tiafoe, Alcaraz, great match last night. I was telling the fellas, Alcaraz is a young talent. He's on his way up. I think they're calling him Nadal 2.0. The way he plays. Tiafoe, I think he's going to look back on this match and see a lot of room for improvement. One of the things I was disappointed in, how 3 lob shots. Those 3 lob shots that Alcaraz was able to break point with him. Come on, bro. I'm like, not again. He did that, not again. And we were just talking about, hey, his need to remain consistent going forward, and realizing the energy and the effort you're gonna have to put in order to reach your goals of winning a Grand Slam. And we hope that he's not a one-hit wonder like Blake.
Yeah.
was.
You know,
Yeah.
I agree with all that, but not to be too harsh on Tiafoe. Um, you know, to quote the great philosopher Coach Herm Edwards, you play to win the game. With that said, I mean, he overachieved. This 19-year-old, Alcaraz is ranked 5 in this tournament, and Tiafoe was ranked 22. But rankings obviously don't matter. Nadal was ranked, I think, second and was taken out by number 22. So there you go. But it is to say that at some point, even with all the momentum and you're putting all the pieces together, he, was very much an underdog in this match. And he was able to, take number 3 to 5 matches. I mean, five sets. And, a 4-hour match, 4-hour plus. So, yes, I mean, when he started being inconsistent and Alcaraz was, found his opening and went right through it, hopefully, Tiafoe can learn and grow from the experience and come back. I can't imagine being so close and not being able to come back. We've already seen that story. You said Blake. There's Madison Keys, who I believe played Sloane Stevens for that U.S. Open championship in the finals, and Madison Keys hasn't been able to return back to that level. So hopefully, it's not too heartbreaking of a loss, and it's something he can build on. Hopefully.
And I know we talking about Tiafoe, but I want to kind of get on the other side of the bracket with the women. Um, Anybody else kind of disappointed with Coco Gauff?
Yeah.
Because at this point, I'm like, hey, I need you to cross that threshold now. This, because you've been in this holding position as far as hey, your rankings and your talent and the potential for your talent for a couple of years now. You're like she started like Serena like 14, 15. She's 18 now,
I
19.
I
Like
feel
and the
that
person she played in the to go to the semifinals, you had you never lost to this woman, and now all of a sudden in the U.S. Open you decided to lose. I know it's not a decision. The woman had a part to play in it, but come on, Coco.
Carolina
I
is hot as like Tiafoe. She came out. I don't even know she was ranked. I mean, and here she is in finals. So she, I guess, hotter than Tiafoe. And again, part of that Venus legacy is a double-edged sword. The girl is 18, but because Serena been there, done that at 18, we expect all of our 18. And
no, no, no. My thing is, Coco, you came into the tennis game showing us your talent, and you said, "No, what? I'm enough to beat one of these legends." That's how you entered the tennis world. That's how you introduced yourself. You said, "Hello, my name is Coco Gauff. Guess who I just beat?" Yeah, that's Venus Williams over there.
right, that's true.
You know what I mean? It's like,
And she,
and now like 4 or 5 years later, I'm still waiting for that out. You know what I mean? Like,
did make the French Open.
I thought this was going to be her year,
I know
man.
she did make it all the way to the finals in the French Open, and she lost to the world number 1. You know, it's yes.
Yeah.
You play to win the game. You play to win the match. There's no participation trophies. I understand that, but this 18-year-old was in the finals of the French Open and had to be down by the world number 1, Iga Swiatek. So she didn't lose to some chump, right? And she's almost there, but again, it's that double-edged sword of the Williams sisters' legacy. By 18, they were slaughtering grown women, and
And
it feels looking at her like, well, time is up. She's 18,
and
but
know what, Ebby? I'm gonna give you one of the famous things your brother gave to me. There are no moral victories, Ab. There are no moral
8.
victories. Okay, there's winners and then there's losers. There are no moral victories.
She just put away her high school graduation cap. She's 8. Paul,
I think my girl Serena had like 2 by then.
No, I mean, I'm asking the question. Obviously, she had some success after it, not the ultimate success, but I mean, is she not living up to the potential, or was the win up against Venus a fluke? Like, should
hear me? She just came off the French Open finals.
No, that's what I said. She has success afterwards. That's what I said. I prefaced it by saying that, but I mean,
yeah,
I think sometimes people set expectations for certain players, and sometimes they're unwarranted. And when they don't meet them, they blame the athletes.
No, Pete.
So do you think the expectations were set too high for her to begin with? Because you can't have both.
No, what this like? I'm gonna put it in perfect. I'm gonna give you a perfect analogy for this. It's like if young Kobe playing against Mike in Washington, not Chicago Mike, Washington Mike, right? Mm-hmm. And he totally dominates it. Like, there's no question about, who won the matchup.
Okay.
And then later on, he doesn't win championships, which once he has Shaq and whatnot. To me, that's what I feel like with Coco Gauff and Venus Williams. She beat Venus Williams, and I'll give you this, that, hey, Venus was entering the twilight of her career.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. So maybe
the way she beat Venus at 15 there was no question. It wasn't a squeaker, like I just squeaked by you, Venus. It was I dominated you in Wimbledon. On your stage where you first started winning championships.
But it sounds as what you're telling me, if she was in her prime, she wouldn't have done it.
This woman.
But it sounds to me what you're saying is if Venus was in her prime, she wouldn't have beat her. She beat Venus outside of her prime.
Well,
so that's what I'm saying.
I don't know who's beating her, but I definitely think, if she beat her during her twilight, you're talking about, that's more of an indictment of a downhill slope towards Venus than Coco,
right?
Coco Gauff just being
right. So she's clearly not Venus. Everybody's basically telling me
she wasn't Venus, but she wasn't a bum. Let me put it to you like this: she was one of the favorites in that tournament.
That still doesn't mean the fact Coco Gauff might just be right where she might supposed to be at right now. The fact that even though we put Venus where she is, it doesn't mean that Coco Gauff isn't where she's supposed to be at right now. It is an individualistic sport in which you can get upset.
But again, it's a development. This legacy. Look at Naomi Osaka. She looked like she was the heir apparent, and she did win a few majors, but now she is struggling. Like, it just shows what a feat it has been to win 23 majors, because not everyone can do that. It's hard enough to piece together one or two.
Yeah.
And again, Gauff, she's already established. Unfortunately, at the age of 18, she's not Serena and Venus, because Serena and Venus were already winning Opens. So close but no cigar. But that doesn't mean that she's past her prime. She's not living up to her potential. It's not the same potential as Serena, is what it's looking like. And, again, it's such a high standard that the Williams sisters have left. Who knows who's going to meet that standard, and will we see that? When will we see that? Will we see that again in our lifetime? Probably. Margaret Court's legacy, she's lived to see someone, touch or come close to her 25. Maybe we'll see someone come close to 23. It doesn't feel like it though, but you never know.
I think the bar that Venus and Serena, when Tiger Woods put on the term great, makes it unfair for everyone else follows. So you're not going to have another Venus and Serena. So if someone dethrones them, you're going to say, all right, now it's your time to take over. No, those are the anomalies. It'll never happen again. It just won't. Like Rory McIlroy, I mean, Justin Leonard, Dustin Johnson, you're scared to say that these are great players in golf now because of Tiger Woods. So or you can say that these guys are very good. But if there was no Tiger Woods, these would be great golfers. You see what I mean? So that term now you can't even touch anymore because, all right, great basketball players. If you don't have these anomalies, a la Steph Curry, LeBron James, Giannis, you might think that who? Give me someone that's really, really good. That it's probably, for some odd reason,
Jason Tatum.
You might think Jason Tatum's a great player.
Chris Paul. That's more established. Chris Paul.
It's so unfair for the terminology of great and what these people have done to it. And we're thankful for them being here, but you can't really put these players into a right category. So I think it's going to just be with Coco Gauff. But I think the understanding with the players that precede the great players, we're going to have to give them some type of slack. But I can understand what you're saying, Mo. You're going to be like, all right, now it's time to step up. But 18 is like really like 18.
And only reason why I say that is because the level of talent that she's displayed over the course of her short career. You know, and it's like, I can see it. It's like, you're this close. It's just like, take the step. And I know some of that is dependent upon competition and her ability to overcome. But I believe in her talent.
So as a novice when it comes to this, so I'm asking, so she doesn't have any majors?
No.
Yes, no. So what are we talking about? She's not that deal then. What are we talking about? what are we talking about? She's not that deal.
And Pete, she has the talent to be that deal. That's my
okay. Jason Tatum, Devin Booker,
like, come on,
have the talent to be that deal.
Come on, young lady, take the next step.
Harold Miner?
Yeah, you know, a newborn baby has potential.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Wow.
I mean, so it's really, you know, her parents are heavily involved. Her father's, you know, like her co-coach, and you know, this is a very tricky period. It's true. It's a tricky period for Coco. She has a great big New Balance, you know, endorsement. And yet, right, she hasn't won a major. I actually went to a practice session at the US Open where Coco Gauff practiced on Arthur Ashe Court. And like, she, you know, is the biggest thing next to, you know, Serena, and before, you know, Tiafoe blew up. And, you know, everyone was cheering her on when she was getting off the court. She was signing the tennis balls. And what was the most interesting thing about it was that after she was getting off the court, the winner of Wimbledon and the winner of last year's US Open were practicing against each other, and nobody cared. It was all about Coco and getting her tennis balls signed.
So,
but the thing is, the winner of last year's US Open and the winner of Wimbledon, I believe, was bounced in the first round of this year's US Open. So it goes back to that where, you know, you didn't mention Phil Mickelson, but the Rory McIlroys and all these players, they can win here and there. But again, you know, once greatness leaves the building, everyone doesn't look so great.
Right.
My only argument, Ebby, is that Coco hasn't. She draws the crowds as if she's reached greatness, but she hasn't reached greatness yet. Like, seriously, and to speak to what Paul said, hey, what has she done? And it's like, that's what I want her to start putting some bullet points on her resume, and start saying, all right, I got a U.S. Open, I got Australian, I got a Wimbledon. All I can say right now is, oh, you went to the quarterfinals.
But
you almost got to the semi.
That's not a Coco Gauff issue. To me, that's a media issue. Like,
yeah,
this is what you guys are putting towards her. To me, I'm getting it seems like the media seems to, and I hate being this guy to say it, but it's the media puts these labels on basketball players, hockey players, baseball players, in which we feel that they should be to this level. I don't feel that way. I really don't. I think people's potential is what their potential is, and that is. So the simple fact that we have these feelings that why is it taking X players so long to get a chip? Because it's difficult. That's why.
Right. And I don't want to throw anyone us, anyone that can get an endorsement deal, go for it. Great. But there are a lot of lesser players than Coco that have endorsement. I don't like throwing people under, but since you guys are basketball oriented, I don't know if you're aware of is it I can't remember. It's a Vanderway, Kiki Vanderway's, I believe, niece has a whole bunch of endorsements, like from Wilson and other companies, and really the tour for years.
Like
and
which one?
I think was it Anna
Kournikova?
Yeah, and that's what I don't want to happen to Coco. And I'm feeling the longer this process or this journey takes, the closer she gets to that comparison, as opposed to comparing her to champions.
Yeah, I mean, I agree wholeheartedly with Hill. I feel like sometimes people get upset when they map out a career path for someone if they don't reach these goals. And sometimes you have to take account. Maybe you were wrong. Not everybody on this panel, but I'm just saying, when someone doesn't meet your expectations, maybe your expectations are too high and you saw something that wasn't there. And the athletes could take the blame too. Sometimes the potential is there, but they don't work hard enough. So, but in this case, if she hasn't won any majors, she hasn't won any majors. I'm sure she's a really good player. She made it to the finals. Like I said, I think she's a really good player, but it sounds to me, no, she's not Serena Venus. And I get it. Not many people are, if any, but she's one of the many people who aren't. That's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah. And to Hill's point, maybe Serena and Venus together, what they've been able to accomplish in tennis has kind of spoiled us as far as our expectations of tennis players that we label great or have that potential to be great. And I think Coco is a little bit of a victim of that. I'll acquiesce to that in the sense that my expectations 4 years in, 5 years in, is that she should have won a championship.
But
but part of that is what Venus and Serena did.
I don't even follow tennis that much. Every so I have to take off for you and Mo with Coco prior to beating Venus. Like, what was her resume?
Her resume on the junior titles championship. So she came off. That's how she got invited to Wimbledon. She qualified for Wimbledon because she was a junior champ. So, I think she was all of, I don't remember now, 15 and 16. And one of those things, let's throw in with Venus and see what happens. I don't know if the expectation that she was actually even going to take out of Venus of who was, knocking on
court.
So
she ran a junior circuit, they threw her in Wimbledon.
Yeah.
Okay.
She won in the junior circuit, and that gives you an automatic invitation. So,
all right. So it's a good chance she might have hit lightning in a bottle and just peaked early.
Whoa!
No.
That's an honest.
Was
question.
18 riding the bench, he still had a lot of potential to give once it was tapped into. Absolutely. 18,
I'm just saying that definitely, I don't think that, I'm not too sure, put it that way, because I don't know tennis. So, but I can go for examples from other sports put into like having younger players jumping into a meeting pretty early. But like I said, I just hate the labels that are put on certain stars and then having them live.
And
we're going to see what Alcaraz does tomorrow. Alcaraz is 19. So,
I think he's gonna mess around and win it.
If he wins, he's better than Coco. If he doesn't win, was all this a waste? And is he over at 19?
But Ebby, know what the thing is?
If he loses, he's Coco.
At the U.S. Open. Like, he's gone farther on her home court than she has. Like,
but she made it. She made it to the finals. What was that in the French? In the French Open, she made it to the finals. Yeah, so it's push.
How long ago was that? Like a year or two ago?
Months.
Like,
wow. My phone's about to explode.
And boy.
It was a couple of months ago, the last French Open. Oh man, and forgive me. But like I said, I just want her. I think if she doesn't win a championship in the next 2 or 3 years, might be talking about her fun. You know?
No, I mean if she doesn't win, if she doesn't win, no one's going to talk about
another. Yeah, which one? So it should be another regular tennis player. It should be tennis. Yeah, I don't want to get it messed up, Mo. Outside of your diehard tennis fans, when Venus and Serena leaves, tennis is tennis. Like, you lose me. It's gone. When Tiger is finished with Gauff, which you correctly am, Gauff is Gauff. It goes back to what it was prior to Tiger. It goes back to tennis prior to Venus and Serena. And it's a great sport, but that's what captured me from a niche standpoint. So I couldn't even differentiate who was who within a 7-year period. If you tell me that's the case, I would think it would take 7 years to actually breed someone at 15. If she won at 22, I'd be like, okay, she started at 15. I would think it's probably normal, but some might just say, it took too long. I don't know.
Looks like we lost again. Interesting conversation.
Oh, good.
Just to remind our listeners, hit us up on social media. Hit us up on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, or email us directly at WeNeeda5th@gmail.com. We want to hear from you. Let us know what you guys think. Where do you put Serena Williams in the pantheon of great athletes of all time?